Hello, welcome to an all-new Marvel cast, Explosion Network's hub for all things Marvel. A place to talk about everything MCU and beyond, from Avengers and Defenders to Void Knight and Enigma Force. My name is Ashley Hobley, your phenomenal podcast host, and joining me today is the astonishing Dylan Blight.
They're not real characters.
No, they're entities that have inhabited the Silver Surfer.
Oh, right.
Oh,
there we go. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Got him.
Yeah, there's always a tie-in.
Is there?
Yeah, until I forget or am super lazy. Today, we are talking about Fantastic Four, the Rise of the Silver Surfer. Remember that movie? So yeah, let's just dive straight in. Please be aware we'll be freely discussing anything and everything about pop themes at any of the movie, so if you haven't watched it, come back later. With that said, let's talk about Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer.
As you may know, there have been unusual occurrences all over the world.
These were taken by one of our spy satellites 3 days ago.
We need a way to locate and intercept that object.
What is it?
We were hoping you could tell us.
It's here.
That's bad.
That's really bad.
We have to destroy this thing.
Your encounter with a surfer has affected your molecules. It could cause you to temporarily switch powers.
You like volunteer?
No! Hey! Oh my God!
Originally premiered June the 13th, 2007. Directed by Tim Story, screenplay by Don Payne, Mark Frost, story by John Turman and Mark Frost, based on Fantastic Four by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, starring Ian Gruffudd, Jessica Alba, Chris Evans, Michael Chiklis, Julian McMahon, Kerry Washington, Andre Braugher, Beau Garrett, Doug Jones, and Laurence Fishburne. Reed, Susan, Johnny, and Ben face an intergalactic messenger who has arrived to prepare Earth for its destruction. While the enigmatic being wreaks havoc around the world, the heroic quartet must also contend with the unexpected return of their enemy, Victor Von Doom. Dylan, what did you think of Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer?
Yeah, look, I can't remember what I said last week to be completely honest, but I mildly enjoyed my rewatch of the first one. I could see some definitely some good things amongst its cheesy early 2000s superhero film tropes. This one was hard to get through. That's what I'd say. I think not most. I'll say all the positives I would have had for the first film just don't exist in this one. And yeah, I don't think the characterizations here is good. I don't think the Silver Surfer is exciting. I don't think obviously they do Galactus disgustingly dirty. Doom returns for reasons and doesn't even feel like he should be here at all. Like, I don't know. There's not much I can say that's actually good about this one, to be honest.
Yeah, this one loses a lot of the charm that the first one had. And it might just be because we all love origin stories. Those are super easy to do, or easier to do. But yeah, the dynamic, like, because they were trying to force friction between the group, it kind of like wasn't as enjoyable to watch them all working together. And when you're chasing down a messenger of a bigger entity that you're meant to be battling, it's not as interesting as trying to stop the massive entity that you're meant to be stopping,
Look out for that gas.
I mean, yeah. Well, do you want to give your thoughts on that here? Because last time we talked about, like, Galactus, I said, hey, remember, in Rise of the Silver Surfer, they just depicted it as a giant ball of gas. You're like, no, that wasn't a thing.
I could not remember. Thankfully, now it's you've ruined it for me, really. I honestly could not remember that this was the thing. That said, I have not watched this movie since it released on DVD and rented and watched it or whatever. Did not watch this at the cinema, just watched it that. And I wouldn't have watched it since. I don't recall ever seeing it on TV. I think it just came out, everyone was like, that was terrible. And it failed to exist outside of its brief period. So my brain had rubbed that information from my head. So now seeing it, watching it, what a choice. Let's take Galactus and turn it into a smoke monster.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly one of the worst.
I think this is post Lost, right? Lost had come out.
Yeah, it is post Lost. Yeah. So I googled because I'm like, why did this happen? What led to this? And from what I could find in my Google, apparently the director hates robots. And the reason he chose not to do Galactus is because his helmet is shaped like a robot helmet.
You just change the helmet.
Or don't be fucking ridiculous.
Don't use it.
Because that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Anyway, terrible. Smoke monster. Really great. Dumb. The only good thing about that is that when we see Galactus finally, it'll be the first time not this is the better version. It'll just be like exciting to see Galactus for the first time. Not, oh my God, thank God they did that so much better than insert if they made him terrible in this movie. Because I don't even think of this as Galactus. I know it's supposed to be Galactus, but dumb.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yep. All right. Let's run through the plot of the film and we can talk about it a little bit more. A mysterious meteor-like object enters Earth's atmosphere, tracing cosmic energy, causing fluxes in weather and power outages, and creating mysterious craters. The government approaches Reed Richards to track the movements of the object. Reed and Susan Storm prepare for their wedding amidst a meteor circus. As the wedding begins, Reed's system detects the phenomenon approaching New York City.
Yeah, so Andre Braugher's character was supposed to be Nick Fury.
I could see that.
But they didn't get
imagine the alternate universe where Andre Braugher is Nick Fury. That is a much different delivery.
Yeah. So, but they couldn't get him. Apparently, they didn't get signed off, whatever. So then they got they just random dude who's very obviously just meant to be general.
Yeah. I think it's fine. Like obviously the setup of they're gonna try and get married this entire movie. It's like apparently this is the fourth time that they've tried. Like what's stopping them?
Something always happens.
Something always happens. Some disaster always strikes, I guess. Yeah. But you're the Fantastic Four. Disasters are always striking. It's interesting how much of a media thing they've become, I guess. Which is very I guess Iron Man had a similar media circus around him. But he was already Tony Stark.
He was Tony Stark, yeah.
They
definitely treat what do we call them? Marvel's First Family? What's the
Marvel's First Family.
They give them their celebrity stardom in these.
Yes. So there's Johnny with his fucking sponsored suits and all that kind of stuff. I mean it's fine. Obviously the wedding happens and then everything goes to shit.
Happen.
Johnny pursues the object, finding that it is the Silver Surfer, a silver humanoid on a flying surfboard. He confronts the surfer, but is overpowered. Later, when Susan tries to check on Johnny, their powers switch. When they touch again, their powers revert. Reed's examination of Johnny reveals that exposure to the surfer has set Johnny's molecular structure in passive flux, allowing him to switch powers with their teammates through physical contact.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, leads to the funny bit where Jessica Alba swaps powers with him, burns all her clothes, and then she's naked again.
Yep.
Okay. What a good bit. The one female character, constantly getting forced to be naked. Can't read into that anyway. I did appreciate or enjoy the bit of the Thing swapping places with the Human Torch.
Well, only because they have potential to have like a the They could have like gone really like, this is what it's like to be normal again or whatever. But they just turned into a bit. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just seeing thinged up Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Who gets to keep his hair?
Yeah.
I guess
apparently.
because Michael Chiklis doesn't have hair.
Bald, yeah. Because full rock.
Full rock, So. Yeah. We did have Reed like developing this device behind Susan's back without telling her. Also, she's very upset when he's at the bachelor party and he's just dancing with some women, making a big scene, And then,
then she says, "It's nowhere near as much as I did at my bachelorette party."
Yeah,
I jumped on that dick.
I went invisible and I did all kinds of great stuff.
Yeah, because you know what they say: what happens when you're invisible stays when you're invisible.
Fire up. How do you think I thought the Silver Surfer looked pretty solid, given there was 2007.
It was fine. I think the special effects and everything around him looks pretty good, especially for
even the flying stuff and
how
they're traveling all around the place.
Yeah,
It seems like it's funny that they kind of replicated the shot of the Silver Surfer taking Human Torch all the way to the edge of the atmosphere and burning him out. Well, you've seen in the trailer of the new one.
No, they don't.
I think the new one, he tries to catch up to her and then reaches the edge of the atmosphere, but there's no more air, and then falls back.
Okay. I like the way it looks. I just didn't like the characterization.
It's a boring character, as far as I'm aware.
Also, changing the powers to the coming from the board is a choice.
But I mean, it makes sense in that the board is what makes him special, I guess. I enjoyed all the going through the board up and down, and then the chase through the tunnel and that kind of stuff. So that was all pretty good.
The problem is making the Silver Surfer the main character. Full stop. There's not.
Yeah, the main antagonist.
Yeah. And do you remember that there was talk about doing a spin-off movie? What the fuck was that going to be? Most boring movie ever.
Probably. It's about a silver man trying to learn how to be human.
Yeah,
I guess. Tracing the cosmic energy of the Surfer, Reed discovers that his series of planets the Surfer previously visited had all been destroyed. Reed determines that the next crater will appear in London, and the team travels there. I don't understand why he's creating all these craters. I don't think that's ever explained.
It may have been, and I chose to not listen or care. And now that you're saying it, I still don't care. It does not affect the quality or my enjoyment of this film, knowing that information or not.
Yeah. Reed determines the next crater will appear in London, and the team travels there. They arrive too late to stop the crater, and the Thames drains into it. This also damages the London Eye, but the team manages to save it from collapsing. I don't know if they were too late, but
you got to weaken the planet before you can eat it.
Yeah, maybe it's I don't like those bits.
Get rid of that water.
It needs some holes in it, like Swiss cheese.
Where am I going to bite into?
Well, you want to put everything down in the middle.
But then again, when you're a smoke monster, do you have a mouth?
Yeah, what put your smoke? Or because it's smoke monster, it needs holes to go into to get to the center.
Maybe
it can't chew.
That could be it.
Because the planets that they say are destroyed, it's not like they've been obliterated or anything. It's just that
they're just rotten apples.
Yeah, rotten apples, pretty much.
Yeah.
The military has the four reluctantly work with Victor Von Doom, having been freed from his statue-like state by the Surfer's energy passing over Latveria, and his body healed during an encounter with the Surfer in the Russell Glacier.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite parts where the Andre Braugher's character went, "Oh, you've been missing for several years, and last time I saw you, you were a super villain trying to destroy everyone in New York City. Work with him."
Yeah, whatever it takes, America.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Deducing that the Surfer's board is the source of his power, Reed develops a pulse generator that will separate him from it In the Black Forest, Susan is confronted by the surfer, who reveals that he isn't the one trying to destroy Earth. He's a victim too. The military opens fire on him, which distracts him and allows the Fantastic Four to use the pulse, separating the surfer from his board. Then we jump to Siberia.
Yep.
You know? Classic. The military imprisons the surfer in Siberia, where they torture him for information. Suspecting that the surfer is not who he appears to be, the four have Susan use her powers to privately speak to him. She learns he serves Galactus, a cosmic entity who must feed on life-bearing planets to survive. His service to Galactus is what prevents his world from being destroyed, and that the surfer's board is a homing beacon leading Galactus to Earth. Whatever. You know? I mean, again, not much interesting stuff here.
Yeah, there's not, to be honest.
Doom steals the board using a wrist pad device he created.
Did you see that twist coming when Doom turned out to be evil again?
It was a shock to me.
Yeah.
Doom actually had not
was turned good. Yeah.
Turned for good. But was actually still evil.
Crazy.
Especially when he specifically said to all the Fantastic Four, I hate all of you.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty
big moment for me. Say. Yeah, because I've forgotten a lot of this movie, so even that part surprised me.
Yes, Doom steals the board using a wrist pad device he created in secret to gain control of the board and its powers, and escapes to China.
Oh, no. This is because there's a part earlier in the movie where Invisible Woman goes downstairs, sees Doom playing with the bunch of stuff, and can tell he's doing something sus, but instead of like asking or investigating it more or mentioning it to someone, she just goes, "Get back upstairs," and then just walks off. And that's the last that's ever. No one never brings it up or like requires what this supervillain may be doing at a workbench, but it's fine.
Yep. The Fantastic Four rescue the surfer and pursue Doom in the Fantastic Car, which Reed has been building this entire time. Confronting him in Shanghai, where he impales Sue with a metal spear made from cosmic energy. With the surfer powerless, Johnny absorbs the combined powers of the team to battle Doom, disabling Doom's device, while Ben Grimm uses a nearby crane to knock Doom into the harbor.
It was crazy when she turned naked when she got killed as well. That was a wild choice to make.
She had a suit, so she didn't turn naked. Although, at the start, she's like, I don't know if the powers would work this way, but she's like, oh no, I got a pimple on my wedding day. I'll just concentrate and make it invisible on my head. But then wouldn't you just see the skin underneath the pimple? Like the fresh layer of skin underneath? Like the red?
Yeah.
I don't think that's how pimples...
I don't know.
I don't think you can make sections of your body invisible.
Don't know. Let's ask a professional.
Yeah. Galactus arrives as Sue dies in Reed's arms. The surfer regains control of his board and uses his powers to revive Sue before flying into Galactus with the help of Johnny.
Fuck are those powers? Apparently he can revive people.
Who knows? His board and cosmic entities, they're crazy. The conflict results in a massive blast of energy engulfing Galactus in a cosmic rift, seemingly destroying them both. Johnny's second exposure to the sea surfer heals him, and he can no longer switch his powers with his teammates.
Well, that was really well timed for the plot time run of this movie.
That was fortunate that happens, you know.
Yeah.
But kind of anticlimactic.
It's a movie.
It is a movie.
It's a thing I press play on.
Shortly after the events in Shanghai, Reed and Susan get married in Japan, only to be interrupted again by an alert that Venice is sinking into the sea. To Reed's delight, Sue has the wedding finished quickly before they race off along with Johnny and Ben to save the city. Very odd. And maybe kind of weirdly cultural appropriation. They get married in Japan.
I have no idea why Japan.
Okay. And why that outfit and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
My only thought was, there's like Japan shows up earlier in the movie when they're with the fishermen. It's like, they actually went to Japan with the set, and they're like, oh, we'll just come and film the end of the movie here.
But no.
You know, I guess they just want to kind of be globetrottery. Now they got the fantastic car; they can go anywhere in the world. Although I don't know how fast that car can go. How fast is it really? You know, can't be that too. It still takes several hours to get between.
It ain't got
Atlantic Ocean.
Hyperspeed, you know.
Yep. Then in the mid-credit scene,
there's a mid-credit. I did not bother.
The seemingly lifeless Silver Surfer floats through space until his eyes open and his bond races back to him, indicating that he's still alive.
Spin-off movie.
See, they were setting up the spin-off movie.
Yeah. Wonder if Galactus is still alive too.
No, he has to be dead. Yeah. Too powerful. Any other thoughts on Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer?
I'll shock you and say no. It is
My only other thing is the Beau Garrett, Chris Evans romance subplot. Kind of so standard. Right, yeah. It's like the classic rich.
She'll change him.
Yeah,
he does one real man out of that bad boy.
He does one really nice thing, and then
she's like, "Oh,
saves the world one time."
Yeah. Ladies are so easy, you know what I mean? Fall for anything. Save the world one
time. So seeing as I'm here on Wikipedia, I want to read through about the cancelled sequel. So the main cast originally signed a 3-movie deal with Fox Studios and Julian McMahon, who already signed for a 3rd film. Michael Chiklis was told Ben Grimm with Alicia Masters would have been a greater focus in the 3rd film, and Jessica Alba expressed interest in including Franklin Richards, while Beau Garrett wished to return as Nova. Tim Story said he was interested in directing a 3rd and 4th film, and writer Don Payne stated he had not discussed the sequel to the studio. He was interested in working with more Fantastic Four characters, saying, "I always loved the Inhumans, the Skrulls, the Puppet Master, and the Nihilus, and the Negative Zone." In May 2007, Story said he wanted Jimon Hyun-soo to play Black Panther. As Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer performed less at the box office than the first film, 20th Century Fox was unsure of the series' future, and no script was in development. In March 2008, Chris Evans revealed, "I'm pretty sure we won't be doing another one. I'm assuming that one is a closed book." And then, of course, in 2009, Fox announced plans to reboot the franchise, which they eventually did, which we will be talking about next week.
Isn't that wild that, like, a movie can make underperform, and then within the span of, like, such a short amount of time, they're like, reboot.
Yeah, and that, you know, especially at that time. And it's like, it didn't do terrible. It made $301 million.
Yeah. Even think about, like, the Batman movies, like, if they're just like, not reboot, they're just like, cast a new Batman.
Yeah. You know what? One other positive about this movie?
The first
92 minutes long.
That is positive. Felt longer, though.
It did feel longer. Not in a good way, you know? Where it feels like you've stuffed a lot of stuff in.
No.
Like, no, it feels like it's dragging forever. All right, let us know what your thoughts are of Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer by Lenny Stowe on Blue Sky at ExplosionNetwork.com, or find us on other social media at ExplosionPod. If you want to help us out here at All New Marvelcast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars. Anyone can leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, thoughts worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at ExplosionNetwork.com/supports. Thank you very much for listening. Make sure you watch Fantastic Four 2015 and join us next time for another All New Marvelcast.